this to your country on this little broadcast live from Fat Daddy's Pizzeria, Fat Daddy's Pizzeria, downtown 223 West Center Street, at 223 West.
Hi, Brian. We had some trouble with the computers this morning.
I'm glad I'm figuring mine out.
Let's see here.
Somebody within the proximity of this room that has been caught zooming on his phone. He was driving to work one day.
Brian,
And
are
they're
you
not
headed
nice,
here or?
Yeah.
especially Salt Lake
Okay.
County Highway.
Oh, I'm doing online. I'm up in Heber going, or Camas going to an outdoor recreation conference. So
Okay, so you are kind of,
Oh, thank you.
breaking up, so
Yes.
hopefully we
And I
can,
continue
get
to do
ya.
so.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have,
hopefully I'm on a mobile hotspot.
I tried to tell him it's
Yeah.
hands-free.
yeah.
And he said, might be hands-free, but your eyes
Do you
kept
see
looking.
me?
He says, I watched you. He was in an unmarked police car.
we can see you. Yep, I'm just trying to set
And he
this,
says, I followed right
computer
alongside him.
up,
He just
so
kept
give me
walking.
just a second.
Yep,
Thank
I did.
you.
So guilty as charged.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you might have to
The judge went release ago.
use this one right here. We're having troubles with getting everything all hooked up, so we might not get you on the big camera, but
Well, we can see
you
you.
guys,
I did it.
problem is it's not connecting to the,
I just watching Brian Zoom driving.
Let me share screen and see if that works.
well, we can see you, but for some reason the volume is not working on here. Dave.
What?
Well, the volume was working on here just a second ago.
Oh, we're supposed to go through the TV.
It's supposed to go through the TV, but now it's not, and I can't get this webcam to work, which they don't necessarily, I don't know. You know what, I'm gonna leave the meeting for a second and I'll be right back. Yeah.
It's the work session.
So who do we have in attendance in the boardroom?
I don't know that they heard you.
They might not have.
You guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm being lazy, not going down there. Just thought I'd do this.
I'm being uber productive, one meeting after the next.
I just tell them all to get online, I guess.
Sharing the screen. Brian, are you sharing the screen?
Yes. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Yep. No?
Yeah, we're looking at it.
Can you?
We can see
Okay.
your screen.
So I hope I can I hope it works for me. I'm on a mobile hotspot, so.
Who's conducting the meeting?
I am. I'm just waiting for the people in the meet or the DRC room to get on.
Yeah, we lost him.
Yep. Well, I was at a MAG meeting for economic development that the governor's office economic development came down. Ran to a guy that over the budget for governor's office. He said there's a grant for innovation centers, so we're gonna see if we can get some money for that.
There you go, Brian.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, who do we have in there? I got a really little screen. I can see Dan. Is that Lynn?
Yep, Lynn chair.
I see Bob. Who else?
Dave
David.
Ty.
Dave and Ty. Okay, great. We'll get going. Do we have anybody that wants to make a motion to approve the minutes if there's no changes?
I motion that we approve the minutes.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next thing on the agenda, and I don't know what happened to the agenda. I sent it to Amanda and oh, I lost the name. What's Amanda, what's your replacement? Kinda, right. 5 different times and some reason it wouldn't go through, so.
You sent it to the court, that's why.
Maybe. So the next thing we need to talk about, and we talked about this before, is the replacement of Mike Hardy. And I think we talked about Dave is putting it in putting it online and in the newsletter or something like that. Have you done that, or is that what we decided?
Yeah, I didn't remember that we were putting it online, but I can do that. Does anybody have any suggestions?
How do you do it for other positions in the committees?
You're breaking up pretty bad now.
How do you do it for other committees?
How do we do it for the-
Well, on some of the boards that we have an ordinance like this one, I don't think we have anything in the ordinance that says how, like the park tax committee, we're required to put it out in the paper to allow people the opportunity to put in, but I don't think there was anything in this board, but we can put it out there if you want.
Not just nomination.
Or we can just nominate some people, if people know somebody in the community that would want to serve.
Yeah, I think I'd like to put it out there, and if we know people we'd like, have them put it in, but I'd just like to open it up a little bit more and let people that might want to just have more of an opportunity. If that works for everybody, does that work for everybody?
I can have Michelle from the chamber blast out an email to business owners in the community that may have interest. If you want. For the chamber, yeah.
Yeah, I think that works good, Dave. So why don't we just put it out put out how you usually do, and if the chamber wants to put it out also.
Okay.
Okay, next thing's report on things happening in Payson. So this is just our what's on the screen. It's just our income so far for taxes, property or pay sales tax. So this last month we did 555,000. That's like the second best month we've ever done. And so far this year, we're up 7% from last year, and we're getting kind of past the COVID days. So it's still doing very strong, and we already have $1 million in sales tax in just months. And, 10 years ago, we're getting about 2 million the whole year. So that's great. The other thing is on housing. Is we're at you can see right up here, we're already at 487 units this year. That's more than we've done ever since I started tracking this about 15 years ago. But we're at 84.6% in multifamily, and 75 single family and 412 multifamily. And there's just the graph of what we've done for housing. Total construction value. So we're at 60, almost $68 million for the year. And if you want to see the graph, we're the red, so that's more than we've ever done, and we still got part of the year left. So we're the Payson's the red here. And in construction, commercial, we're at $6.2 million. So it's more than we've done for quite a few years. And out here in red. So we've had some better years, but we're starting to pick up a lot in commercial. I think we're on the either approved or in the planning process about 1.2 million square feet of office warehouse. Just give you an update on the gun range. We met with the BLM, trying to keep them moving along, talked to the CMP a few times. They're BLM supposed to be meeting us next week, and to move this process along, and it's supposed to be one of their top priorities. I know that the Burgess Owens group is working on sending a letter to the BLM, and I think Romney's group's already contacted them, so I think this will start moving along. Yeah, only real challenge we might have is they just have a new board president. This started last week, and so the lady that was really pushing for Payson, really liked Payson, no longer on the board even. So hopefully that works out really well, and I'll try to find out how that board meeting went this last. Mayor, Dave, Bob, anybody in there have anything they want to add to what's going on in Payson?
No, I think you covered it real well.
There's a lot of projects coming in. I think I saw a review at our DRC meeting that looks like Jones Paint and Glass is starting on the retail project. They've already had a pre-construction on their facility to build out the business park to move the manufacturing over here, but they also are going to open up a store down by Wendy's. And so I think when they saw that Sherwin-Williams' building, they thought they'd hurry it up a little bit. So
yeah, it's kind of interesting having two paint stores, but no hardware store. It's a praise.
Well, every little bit helps.
Yeah. Mayor, you had something on Popeyes, I think.
Oh, yes. Popeyes, I was contacted by Lanny Shurtleff. he, if you remember, he was the owner of Dalton's for quite a while. He's, I believe, either the district or area manager for Popeyes. Called and said that they would be, their target date for opening was in between the 4th of November to the 10th of November. And then he asked me for some information about joining the Chamber of Commerce. And so I put him in touch with Michelle. And but they really want to belong to the chamber. So I think things are progressing real well there.
Great. Let me see. So, yeah, so those kind of things happen in Payson. Next thing on the agenda was the golf event, which we're doing on the September 29th. We've raised quite a bit of money this year. So we'll have extra money that will go towards economic development. What we would need is if there's any volunteers from this group that would be able to come help. We need some help with getting people on the helicopter and off and taking lunches around, a few things like that. Or is there anybody in this group that would, on the 29th morning, that would be available to help with that?
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
My calendar says I can be there.
You'll be out of town. I have to double check one thing, but it's a possibility that I could come help.
That would be great. If we have people from, since there is our economic development golf event, if we have people from our committee, that would be fantastic to come mingle with people, meet with people. So that'd be great.
Brian, let me interject if I could. There is a very strong possibility that we could have Dave Stewart, or lobbyist, and he would possibly bring Stuart Adams, the president of the Senate. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that might happen.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have quite a few people coming. One thing that we're a little low on businesses that we think might come to Payson. We might be able to recruit to Payson. So if you know of any businesses, we still have room for them. We'd like to still invite people, and that's kind of the goal of it, is to show Payson off. Another good source is if you know any commercial realtors that don't know a lot about Payson, that they're the ones that really go out and find the people, businesses. So if you know any of those that we can invite, we do have, like, Utah's coming with quite a few people, which should, they're the ones that look for places too. And we have the governor's GoWeO's coming. And so we have some of those people, but you know, anybody that's like deals directly with businesses, that would be great. We have room for that.
Brian, I've contacted Stuart Thane, and I was going to explore the possibility of having somebody from Maverick come. So he hasn't got back to me yet, but there's a possibility there as well.
Okay. So yeah, if any of the rest of you have anybody, that'd be great. If you need a flyer or anything or more information, you can get with me or the mayor or Dave or the Chris Phillips, and we can get you more information. Any questions on the golf event? Okay. A little harder to do this on Zoom when people are in place and then you don't know what's happening for sure, but let's go to committee reports. Let me pull up our committees here. So we talked about the golf event. We are doing helicopter rides again this year. So it should be a really good event. What we're trying to do, and I don't know if Kevin's on here or not, but they're in the out there, but we haven't done a great job of it, but just at each hole having something to do with home to adventure. Oh, wow. Oh, go ahead.
real quick on the golf event, I know a couple of commercial real estate agents. How do I get one of those flyers?
I can send you one, Ty.
Yeah, send me one, because
Okay.
I'll send the invitation.
So yeah, one that I haven't heard back from, but I sent one to, we have in the Wells Fargo building, we have an ERA office going in there, and it's residential, but they have 20 offices, and they have one up in Lehigh that's the commercial division. So I invited them to come, the owners. They won't be able to, but I'm asking if they had a couple of their people. Commercial division would want to come down. Well, one thing I was just thinking about as we're going through this assignments is that we had Dave took a resolution to city council last time about having a adventure day. So it passed the city council. So on the first Saturday of each June, we're gonna have adventure day to go along with our home to adventure. So again, I think this committee, and we'll get with Janine, and we'll kind of be the spearhead of having that home to adventure that goes along with economic development in our strategic plan. So Dan, can you give us any update on the website?
Yeah. So we have been able to finally get some of the project data from Joe Jameson and Robert Mills for the website app. A lot of the data came in really disorganized. So we replied and said, hey, let's try and organize this and come up with a structure that makes sense for the public viewing. If you're going through it, you understand what you're trying to find, and it's easily found that way. Anyway, we haven't heard back from Joe or Jill Spencer. I copied her on it as well. So just waiting to hear back, but we've got everything ready to go. We just need the data to start throwing into it.
Okay. So do you have the ability to put it on the website too, or you're just gonna put it together?
I think we would have the ability to post it up there as well, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what that involves. That's not really my area.
Okay. I guess as soon as we get a little bit farther along, then we need to have some training for Dave, who do you think might be a good person to be trained on being able to put this together and put it on the website?
I don't know. I like that Brian Hewlett guy.
I can do it.
No, well, we can find somebody here that I'm not right offhand, I'm not sure.
You think Marty would have the expertise enough to be able to do that, or time, or?
Possibly, maybe Dale could help out as well.
Ultimately, the idea is that we've set up the back end structure simply enough that anybody who receives the data could just copy the files into the folder and it would auto-populate. It doesn't need a lot of programming or coding or any of that.
Right.
So it's something that Joe Jameson really should be able to do, but I'm not sure if that's his department. I mean, I know he does the GIS, but whether that's Jill or Joe or somebody, but it really ought not be very task heavy to do. I think the contract we did and what we invoiced for was 14 projects. We did receive like the entirety of the Red Bridge development, which is like not just one project. There's like a whole bunch of different things going on there. So we need to look into that a little bit more deeply and figure out how many projects are actually in there. But
right.
Anyway, like I said, I think that the ultimate end goal is to make it very easy for the city to manage.
Right. And yeah, and I think just somebody to figure out which items we want to put in, because we probably won't want to put everything in, but just select items. So That's part of the challenge you're going through, because we dump a whole bunch of stuff, and what's pertinent and should be on there.
Correct.
Maybe we need to all have a sit down meeting, kind of say, here's the items, have a kind of a checklist of the items that we need.
That would be good.
Okay. David, Business Retention Committee.
Yep, so we need to reschedule the Payson, the stakeholders meeting. On there, we had it scheduled for August. Brian and I, when we looked at that, not only with our own schedules, but just kind of schedules across the board, it just didn't work for the month of August. And so we decided to postpone that. I'd like to propose just kind of looking at dates on there. We've typically gone the week after our meeting. So if we looked at the month of October, on there, was wondering about scheduling out for like October 18th or 19th, one of those mornings. And Amanda, just wanted to see if you see any conflicts on the calendar with the city, if we might be able to schedule for one of those days.
Amanda's not here, but I will definitely look and see if there's a.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, if we could look at one of those days, if you would let us know. And typically what we've done is we've used the conference room, and then we've set up a Zoom link as well on there. Brian, does that, would one of those dates work for you?
I don't have my calendar right in front of me, but I can look.
Okay.
Then we need to get with the chamber and see if it works for them, because I think they were gonna be a lot more involved and blasted out, and we we're gonna have this more open. So we probably want to have this in the council room, I would guess.
Okay, I'll send Michelle an email and check with her, and then if we can check the city's schedule as well, and Brian, if you'll check yours, and then we can look to move towards that.
David, the one thing that on the 19th, we have a coordination meeting with the Payson Main Street engineers on Tuesday. It doesn't look like it's bad at all, though.
Oh, okay, on Tuesday, the 18th. Okay. Okay.
So what time did we decide to do this? In the morning or lunchtime? 8 a.m.
We'd said 8 a.m. Yeah, our best attendance so far for any of the meetings has been the morning.
Okay.
So why don't we just plan on October 18th at 8 a.m. unless we see other conflicts. I'll reach out to Michelle and check with her on the chamber, and then I'll circle back with everyone in the group on it.
Okay, Dave, do you see anything on the schedule from the city point that might be a problem?
Not on my calendar. It looks like it's pretty open. I'm not aware of any other city function.
Okay. Next thing is UVU MTech. Few things on that.
Banners.
And maybe, yeah, Meryl, why don't you tell us about the banners?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in the process of putting the banners up. Most of them were put up on Main Street yesterday. I've got a hold of UVU through Steve Anderson, and they're very excited about that happening. President Tumenez is out of town for the rest of this week and maybe part of next week, but he wanted to get with President Tumenez, and we could have a photo op that'd be excited to come over and do that. I've got a hold of President Christensen with MTech. They're excited as well that we're putting those banners up that they provided for us. And they would like to do the same as time permits for a photo shoot there as well. And I've got a hold of our, Mike Olson, Payson Chronicle, and he'd love to be involved in those photo shoots. So I think it's really going along real well.
Great. Thanks for working on that. So on MTech, I forgot what I was going to say. Dan, talk a little bit about the UVU and the Hewish?
So you said Dan, is that right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So, we've been meeting with a number of individuals at UVU, primarily, our primary contact is a gentleman named Alex Malone, who is the executive director over the Norda Center for the Arts, runs the theaters down there. And they're just maxed out. They've got a 2-year waiting list of productions that want to go on, and those that do go on, they've got like sometimes 1 or 2 nights, and a lot of times these are student productions that they've been working for months, and they would really enjoy the opportunity to have another venue to perform at, as well as other places where they could hold other courses, whether it be stage design and production or tech, or just skills that they can't necessarily readily do on their campus. But the Hewish Theater could provide a solution to a lot of those. So he is super excited. Not only does he just love the idea of old theater restoration and bringing the arts more broadly to the community in general, but I think he thinks it would be a very big benefit to UVU to have access to that. We of course think it's a great opportunity, given that it's UVU's putting a campus in here, hopefully sooner than later, and that that bolsters our credibility and helps us with our efforts to fundraise. I'm not sure that it would be a strict partnership as much as just I don't know, maybe a loose partnership, something that they don't want to be like raising money for us. They're very clear about that, and we have to respect that they raise money for themselves and not for other people, and so we have to toe that line very carefully. But being able to involve them in the discussions with people who might be interested in donating to the theater renovation is very promising. So anyway, we've used park tax money to get a lot of work done on the sideshow element. This is the first phase will be opening up. That's still a bit away, and we probably need more money before we can get that finished, but there is headway, and with that headway, we're going to just keep the ball rolling. Did I capture everything, Brian, or is there something more?
Yep. I think you did a great job. So yeah, we're excited about that. And again, with the whole downtown project, that could be an anchor to our downtown. Another thing with UVU, because obviously with Val Peterson, his emphasis is up north, so we're kind of trying to peck around the edges. But I met with Wynn's replacement. His name's Stuart J, right, Wynn?
Peter J.
Peter J. I knew his 2 first names. Anyway, he's really excited about trying to help us with an innovation center here in Payson, and he would do a lot of the legwork, and actually they have the contacts and everything, putting that together. And then I met somebody from the governor's office of economic development that says there's grants available for innovation centers, and he's going to help us with that. So I think there's a good opportunity to go along with the MTech with the makerspace to have an innovation center. And I was at a meeting yesterday with GOEO and the governor's office, and they're putting together as basically a strategic plan for economic development. And they looked about 6 different areas in the state of Utah and how we compare. And overall, the state came in really good at number 3 overall in all these different areas. And the Utah County or MAG came in number 1 in Utah. But one of the things that they talked about, one of our weaknesses in Utah is the amount of innovations sites for the population that we have. And there's only like 5 or 6 things they even talked about were real shortcomings, and that's one of them. So I think that would be really good for us to go along with our branding. So anybody have anything else on MTech and UVU? Okay, Ty, take it away on downtown. What's going on, and when you can throw in what you're doing too.
Awesome. So probably the biggest thing is city engineers met with Travis and the engineers yesterday. Not the city engineers, but the engineers consulting on this project. Aaron Metcalf, who's one of those, really showed interest in joining our downtown meeting. His goal, he mentioned this, he wants to be sensitive with each building and be able to meet with each business owner. And so he's going to join the meeting, and we're going to talk about that. Another big thing is we're hoping to do sort of a gala. I think the activities committee really got excited about that idea to raise some money to try to help with things. And the other thing I'll mention, Diane Jensen from the ERA building, we have her and a couple other business owners really wanting to get involved. But also, I don't know if you have an electronic version of the of kind of the renderings for the beautification for downtown, but I've had a couple people ask for a copy of that, and I have something Jill sent me, but I'm hesitant to send it out because now it's sort of obsolete. And one of the things that it talks a lot about parking, and I know how hard everyone's been working on doing parking stuff, and so I don't want to throw people off by sending that out. So if we have an updated version or just a generic rendering or something, I could send those people, that'd be great. But Diane Jensen at the ERA building really wanted one, and she really wants to get involved. Diane Jensen's the broker that's heading up ERA, so she's not the owner, but she's kind of like the head honcho of the Payson division.
Yeah, Dave, I don't see a problem sending out what we have. We've shared it, and we have updated versions every week. Do you see a problem with that?
No, and we've got, we were gonna put it up on the website as well, but we were just gonna put some statements like, subject to change, and some of the, Jill is gonna take a couple of things out of the slide because they haven't been approved yet. So I'll get with her, we can send you what we put up on the website.
Even if it's the link or something.
Yeah, okay,
Great. Thanks, Ty. And Dave, do you have anything on streetscape? And then we'll have Wynn talk about the food hall.
Hi, maybe there is a group, I don't know her name, I can't remember her name. There's a group that's gonna do a storytelling event starting the end of September.
Apria.
I go every weekend until Halloween, and they're gonna use Thor Monchi's building and the new city building, the Utah Trikes building. So that should be a good thing for the downtown.
And they're also in the axe throwing Eli's ice cream building.
Oh, sweet.
With Matt Jensen. Yeah.
How'd that ribbon cutting go for that?
I wasn't able to attend, but I think it was a hit.
I was there. It went real well. I got a chance to talk to the owner and his wife, and it went real well. They're very excited about it. And I briefly told him some of the things that are in the wings waiting in the wings to happen. And he was quite excited about it.
It goes along with our adventure and something unique downtown. So, Wynn, do you want to talk about the food hall?
You bet. So a couple of things. The mayor, Dave, and Brian and I met with a designer who came in and looked at the building, talked about, more of the, not esoteric, but essential elements for it to survive and thrive, which is food, traffic, and energy. And the mayor had a terrific idea to put to put something on the roof to enhance, the appeal of the building, the view of the valley. And so we're getting a design from him. I did apply for an additional grant, $350,000 for remodeling. That was submitted last Monday, and we hope to hear back fairly soon. That from all indications, we're kind of an ideal candidate for that additional funding. So right now it's in the design phase, and we need to raise a bunch of cash through both city contribution and potentially investment from private public partnership. And David, Mr. Charles, we probably ought to at least have a conversation about how to pull that finance committee together and begin going down that road. There are some fairly significant capital needs for that whole area to blossom, and there's I think an economic opportunity for some forward-thinking individuals that the city can de-risk through its involvement. So there's a really kind of unique opportunity, and we'd love to get people that are invested in the community invested in downtown. So that needs to be happening parallel to this, but there are additional grants that we continue to chase after, including the facade reclamation. And then, of course, everybody that we talk to, first thing out of their mouth is parking. How are we going to deal with parking? And so phase one is clean up the back of the building so that parking isn't an offensive thing visually. Then the next is potentially, creating parking lots through a strategic acquisition of some of the property around the area. So that is the current update.
Okay, great. The last thing was business recruitment. So we sent out about RFIs in the last month or so. I know that Mark Weldon's and working with Randy Park, they've been sending out quite a few, and we've been putting some information with theirs. And also in the business park, we just added 30 more acres of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints property. So, because we're running pretty short on property there. So we still need to look at other places to have property available for business expansion. We don't have hardly any freeway frontage property. Kenworth's been trying to find a place and they can't find one. Paris RV is trying to find a place close to the freeway to put in some covered storage for RVs. I think they found a piece of property that they're interested in, but it is quite a ways away from the freeway. But I think they did find something they're interested in. Then we had a meeting with the city council about a month ago, work session talking about what they wanted for economic development. One of the big things was again the big box and the restaurants. Like we're going to try to get Sam's Club, Home Depot, those type of businesses. So we need to continue to work on that. So Bob, what would you like to see, and what do you have anything for this committee or?
Well, it's funny that we talked about parking, because I had already mentioned to Dave that I walked the other day, I walked that vacant piece of property to the west of Huey's Theater across the road. I've walked the whole place. I think the long-term solution and the right solution is a parking structure behind the west side of Main Street. I'm just telling Dave that I'm going to get hold of a couple contractors that I know have recently completed and see how much per stall or how much per floor some kind of a parking structure would run. But I think if we build it, they're going to come. And if they come, we've got to have a place to put them. And right now, even with the little Christmas thing we had last year, I'm glad I lived 2 blocks away from Main Street, because I can walk up to it, because there was no parking within a 2-block radius of, and that wasn't a very huge event either. But I think it's only fair if we're going to dump this kind of money into Main Street, that the council needs to strongly consider a parking structure that will benefit everything that this committee is trying to get off the ground.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much they do cost.
Yeah, there's a couple, 3 places I'd like to explore to put a parking structure, and that's one of those places as well, Bob.
Good, Mayor. I'll get hold of Rimrock and a couple that have just finished, completed. There's one right in the downtown Provo area that Rimrock's just finishing up now, and a couple more in the Salt Lake Valley, and see what they run per stall. I don't know how they estimate those.
They estimated per parking stall in about 5 years ago is 1,500.
About 1,500. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so it's probably gone up from there, but if, that's a baseline, we would up, kick that up depending on the current price of materials and labor.
Okay. I'll get something a little more updated then and see where we want to go with it. I know that the council is 100% on board with downtown. And while we have that composition and the ball rolling, maybe we ought to strike it while it's hot.
Okay, anything else for this committee, Bob, that you'd like to see us work on, or?
Well, obviously the citizenry would love to see a big box. I think your Home Depot, your Home Base, your Lowe's. I know Home Depot loves to compete with Lowe's, and so it'd be nice to have a Home Depot on the other side of Lowe's in Spanish Fork and kind of stop that flow. But find the rabbit hole and pull it out, Brian.
With the addition of Placer, and many of us here we're listening to that, but they did a proposal for us to be our customer and compared Spanish Fork to Payson, and Payson won Home Depot hands down, mainly because of the cannibalization rate. 77%, if they opened a store in Spanish Fork, their cannibalization rate would be 77%, which isn't very good for the East Bay store. If they moved just 6 miles to the south to our location, it drops way down to 50%. So I think we've got a lot of information on our side that maybe will help them to make that decision.
And by the way, I misspoke. It's a factor of 10 above that. Sorry. It's not 1,500 per stall. It was 15,000, and now the current price is 20,500.
25.
20,500 per stall. So if you round it up to 25, just with inflation, 100 stalls would cost us 2.5 million.
For 100 stalls.
Right.
Yeah, cheaper than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I know that's a number, but that's cheaper than I thought it would be.
If you put it in the right location between the downtown and the Memorial Park, and also put our office, city offices, it'd be a win-win-win, I think. So if we could kind of have the synergy of all those things together and have the city offices in the downtown area, just bring a lot more to that downtown area. So
there's a few moves that if they it depends on a marketplace too. There's a few moves downtown that could really help us locate it in the right spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I was being a little more sensitive to Huey and people walking to that venue, being on that west side.
Right.
But, man, I'd be open for anywhere right there.
That's a great location too.
okay, thanks, Bob. Thanks for coming. Last thing I want to talk about a little bit, and we've talked about this quite a bit, and we haven't really implemented it. We've talked about, and maybe it's the wrong thing to do, but we've talked about getting our 10 or 15 top businesses, whether they're sales tax or manufacturing, and have somebody assigned to that business and go out and visit them and know them really well. I guess part of my thinking on that is when Rocky Mountain ATV was going to manufacturing, we didn't know about it till just when they're making their decision, they decide to go back east to do their manufacturing, not buy land and do it here in Payson. So, and then I think we had another example where somebody left Payson or something like that because we just didn't know. And the businesses that we have here are great businesses, and we want to make sure they're happy and in place. So is that something we want to do, and would you guys be willing to do if we do it? Because if we do it, we have to do it, is to have somebody from this committee assigned to those different businesses. It might be Rocky Mountain ATV, Pretty Safe. It might be like Walmart. So is that something? Give me a little bit of feedback on that. What do you think?
I'd definitely be.
I think that's a great idea. Communication is key and vital, and I'm willing to help out and support that.
Yeah, Brian, I'm definitely willing as well to do that and to assist there. So.
Okay. So sounds like we're looking that we can do that. And I think it's very vital because retention is as big as trying to bring people in because you grow internally. What do you, is two many, or is one what you think would be good? Because we'd like to, have enough to make it worthwhile, but is two too many, or would you rather just do one?
Two's a good number.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will work on a list for next time, and hopefully we have more and we can assign those out. And you guys think about somebody that you already kind of know that you would like to have on that list, and that you think would be vital to the community, and that you would like to visit because you already have some relationships there. Because we might put the people that already know those businesses, and some of them aren't. There's probably some of us that know, one business really well, 4 or 5 of us, but we'll have to divide that up. But if you can think about businesses in town that we really want to make sure they're happy and that you might have an interest in visiting, let's talk about that next month, and we'll put that on the top of the list, and hopefully everybody's here so we can make those assignments. Does that sound good? Okay. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss today? If not, we'll get out of here a few minutes early.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You bet.
Do we need a motion to close or anything?
No, I think we can just close. Oh, thanks, Kendra.
You're welcome.
You did great.
Thanks.
How's your golf games?
Terrible.
Too busy. We'll figure it out eventually.
I will, hopefully.
He'll figure it out.
I got you.
Oh, as a family, the band we were talking about here, it's way down.
Yeah.